5 years ago, I was living in Los Angeles, which is a city that I love living in. And then COVID hit, and I just wanted to get away from a big city. So I put everything I had in storage and left with just 2 backpacks. I thought I was going to Hawaii for 3 months while everything settled down. So things took a lot longer to settle down than I expected. My YouTube channel blew up, and this somehow became what I do for a living. So for 5 years, I have been traveling the world, living out of 2 backpacks. And I have not been back to Los Angeles once until now. That flight is taking me back to LA. So in this video, I'm going to take you with me on a journey to the place that used to be home for me. I'm going to share some important lessons that life has taught me in the last 5 years. And I'm going to try to explain to you why America can never be home to me again. It's 4:50 p.m. and I am in Los Angeles, in front of the place where I used to live until COVID made me leave LA and USC, and it just feels surreal to be back. I'm actually staying in this place. They're actually letting me stay in my old room where I used to live. But thankfully they do rentals for the week or for like on a nightly basis. Man, it's crazy. I took a Uber here from LAX, and this street I'm on, Orchard Avenue, is where I lived for 5 years. I actually lived in this other house literally like 100 yards away, or 100 meters if you're not from America. And that's where I was staying for 4 years. Then I was staying at this place for 1 year. And then I left, and now I'm back after like 4.5 years. This feels surreal. It's getting dark and I'm super tired. Honestly, a bit hungover because I went out with one of my friends in Phoenix last night. So I'm gonna call it early and go to bed soon. Good morning, guys. It's 8:30 a.m. and I just slept from 6 p.m. yesterday to 8 a.m. because I was just so tired. And before that, literally for 16 days straight, I had to wake up before 7 a.m. to go to skydiving. And I was barely sleeping because I was so stressed at some points about the skydiving course that I was doing. So I needed this so bad. Now I'm gonna get breakfast over here because breakfast is free at my Airbnb. So you got bananas, eggs, French fries, and hot dogs. Kind of a balanced breakfast, I guess. It is time. We've gotten out all the suitcases from the attic, and there's 4 boxes of what I think are mostly books, 3 big suitcases, and a small suitcase that we're gonna open up now. Let's see what is in there and what survived. Okay, open the first mini suitcase. So we have a laptop that I literally don't remember owning. Maybe it belongs to my mom. I cannot believe I left dumbbells. I think this is like 15 kilos or like 30 pounds of dumbbells, and pillows that are definitely going in the trash. Okay, I'm gonna try to open up this HP laptop and see who it belongs to. Wow. This clearly did belong to me. I just did not remember I had this. Okay, this is updating based on the files I'm seeing on my desktop, which is kind of making me nostalgic. And from what I remember, I think this laptop is actually from 2016 and older, because this is so slow and so bad. I had to get a new one the moment I started my YouTube career 8 years ago. So I'm just formatting this and I'm gonna try to donate it somewhere. Okay, so I've opened up suitcase 2, and that has a lot more useful stuff than dumbbells. I basically found a lot of clothes. A lot of them are actually in like really good condition, including like these really nice shoes. So the clothes I'm actually giving away to Goodwill because I'm obviously never gonna wear them. I found a lot of office supplies because I used to like be an engineering student and was doing research for a living for like 5 years in a biomedical engineering lab before I became a YouTuber, so I needed all these office supplies. And then I found all these photos from Iceland in 2013 when I went there for a semester abroad. When I was a lot younger and had some crazy hairstyles. This stuff's making me nostalgic. And I also found a lot of gifts, like stuffed animals, and letters that I got from people, including my ex, who was in my first ever video, literally my first ever video on this channel with me. All right, now it is time to open suitcase number 3. First thing I found here is roasted nuts. You know, when I left this stuff in my suitcase, I really thought I was gonna come back here in 1 to 2 to maximum 3 months. I did not think I'd come back here 5 years later to find expired nuts. I found a lot of clothes that I'm gonna donate. My old Jordan 1s. That are pretty dirty, that I think I'm also gonna donate. I found a tripod that I didn't remember I used to own. I found some Christmas socks that are kind of funny. The most important thing, I found this file, this fat file, that has my social security information, a bunch of my old credit and debit cards that have expired, and my old passports, and a lot of other stuff that, if someone found it, could have been used to commit identity theft and take out loans and stuff in my name and put me in tens of thousands of dollars of debt. So I'm so glad I found this. The reason I left it there for 5 years basically was when I left, I thought I was literally leaving LA for a few months. When I was leaving the US, you know, this is 8 months after I left all my shit in the attic, after I left Hawaii, 8 or 9 months. I thought I was still gonna come back to the US and continue what I was doing. I didn't think this was gonna be my career. So I wasn't really worried. I just thought I was gonna come get my stuff and like just stay here and whatever. And then I ended up, you know, not coming back. I ended up like quitting everything I was doing. And then I didn't have the visa to come back in the US because I'm a Bangladeshi citizen and you need the correct kind of visa. So I applied for a visa and the wait time for that, my interview with the US Embassy was 2 years or something like 2 years. So it wasn't until this year I could even get a visa to come into LA and get my stuff. Once I got the visa, I emailed my landlord, but I guess he didn't check the email. So I thought maybe he just threw it away. When I came to the US 3 weeks ago, I texted him to see if he responds to my text, and he responded. He's like, yep, your stuff is here. So here I am getting all the stuff. Some of the most important you could have. Okay, I just looked through the last suitcase that I had, and it's mostly clothes. I have like 5 bags of clothes that I'm gonna give away. Okay, I just found a hard disk with a lot of footage that I thought I had deleted from before 2020. So that's great. So I'm just walking around University of Southern California, where I used to go to grad school. Right now I'm at the Viterbi School of Engineering, which is like where I had a bunch of my classes early on, and then even like was a teaching assistant for a bunch of classes later on in grad school. And like I feel like every building here, I've spent some time editing a video. I remember right here in this building, there was like this couch one time. When I filmed my first ever vlog in Mexico City, I was editing it and I came here and I was basically like sitting here for like 10 hours straight editing a video one time. So many good memories here. And this is usually like a very expensive school. A lot of the students going here are like really wealthy. I'm not, because I came here as a PhD student and everything was paid for. Speaking of money and expensive schools, if you're a Bangladeshi living abroad trying to send money to the US, you should check out this app called Tap2Send, which is a simple app using which you can send money from the US, UK, Canada, Europe, the UAE to Bangladesh. There's a lot of reasons for using Tap2Send. First of all, there's no transaction fees no matter how big of an amount you're sending. The transaction times are pretty fast and the exchange rates are really good. You can directly send money to a bank account or a bKash account or a Nagad account. And number 5, for my viewers, they've given a special promo code OTG, and if you use that, you get a $20 bonus on your first transaction from the US to Bangladesh. So make sure you check that out if you're going from Bangladesh to the US. So I just dropped off all my stuff here in the Goodwill in downtown LA. Well, not all my stuff, but like 90% of my stuff. There are very few things that I'm taking with me in my bags out of LA. Those are mostly things that have like emotional value. Because if I think about it, like there's clothes and electronics. If I haven't used them in 5 years, do I really need it? And someone else probably needs it more than I do. And at the same time, it's just dumb to pay for transporting all this stuff I'm probably not going to use next 5 years if I haven't used it in 5 years. So just drop it off, and it feels honestly a bit weird letting all my possessions go that I had for like 10 years in the US. But in a way it's kind of liberating. Along with the clothes, there was like the old laptop, the camera tripod, and some other camera gear that I don't need. Alright, now I've done giving away everything except for some books. Okay, so I was basically trying to walk downtown, and the seemingly homeless person who clearly has mental issues was like walking their dog, little like chihuahua dog, and tried to attack me literally with their dog. So I just ran away, and then she came after me like a block later and tried to attack me again with her dog. And she's like, yeah, what up, mother? And then, yeah, I'm just calling an Uber now. I'm trying to get the hell away from here. LA has a lot of problems, especially this area. Also, this has to be the foggiest I've ever seen downtown LA. It doesn't get foggy or rainy here often. Okay, so I got an Uber, and I'm here with Eric. He's the gentleman that dropped me off earlier. So he was asking me earlier if I want to take an Uber, and I'm like, nah, I'll just walk or something. And then after this, he's like, yeah, you can't. You shouldn't be walking around here. It's pretty wild. Okay guys, it is another day, and I'm gonna try to take all my books and donate them to this really special place. Okay, so in the middle of downtown LA is this bookstore called The Last Bookstore, which is right in the middle of USC, where I kind of lived, and the medical campus where I used to like do research. And I would often come here after work from the medical campus on the way home and just like chill here for the evening, pick out a book. There's like couches downstairs and read there. And then like if I liked it, I bought it. And I've bought so many novels from here. And I used to be able to sell books here for like $1, but they stopped doing that, I guess, at some point in the last 5 years. But I was able to like at least donate a lot of my books, a lot of Michael Crichton novels, probably a lot of stuff that I bought from right here. There's a lot more tourists here than from what I remember 5 years ago. So it's like a really special place for me because I've spent like so many hours in this bookstore right here. Okay, at least this part of downtown feels a bit safer to walk around, safer than the part where I got chased down by that lady. Man, I'm back in Santa Monica, in the Santa Monica Venice Beach area. They're right next to each other. And this whole area was undoubtedly my favorite part of Los Angeles when I lived here. I used to come here so often just to see the sunset that you can see in front of me now. I never got in the water, by the way. That's just something tourists do, get in the water in this filthy part of LA. But yeah, this is something I did a lot. There's this place called the Promenade, which is like a few streets away, which I just went to for the first time in 5 years. I have spent maybe hundreds of hours of my life walking up and down that street because that's where I'd go like to watch movies sometimes, to go shopping. There was this bar called The Bungalow. I wonder if it's still there. That's kind of like over there at the end of the promenade. So I would go there as well, maybe 2 or 3 times a week. You might have also seen it in my videos. I walk around the promenade and like try out coffee, went to Venice Beach to see people work out, to see people skate and all that stuff. I actually met someone that I ended up dating for like a year and a half on the promenade, like on that street. So many crazy memories there. It's like honestly overwhelming to be here because I had such a good time in Los Angeles, honestly. I loved so many of the things that Los Angeles had to offer. And coming back is really like bringing back all these memories, and it's making things like a bit overwhelming, I'm not gonna lie. I loved the time I spent in Los Angeles, which is weird because I wanna end this last part of the video explaining to you why I never want to live in Los Angeles again. And it's not because of some problem or anything that's specific to Los Angeles. I just don't ever want to live in America again. And when people ask me why I don't want to live here, there's really 2 reasons. And I usually tell people one of the reasons because it's easier to say. One of the reasons is that I do enjoy my life as a nomadic person, as a digital nomad, as a very slow traveler who moves from one place to the other and avoids wearing a jacket for years. I do like that, what that lifestyle brings. But the second part that I don't always tell someone because it's an uncomfortable truth, especially if I'm talking to people that were my friends from here, even if I live somewhere long term, I don't want to live in the US again. Now, a lot of people immediately think it's because of the politics and Trump and whatever Republican, Democrat. I think that's honestly more of a symptom of a bigger problem or a bigger cause which made me want to leave the US. By the time I left the US last time, I kind of knew that I didn't want to come back here, honestly. Even before I knew how I was going to make it work, even before I knew that like YouTube was going to be the answer for me to be able to do what I do, I just knew I didn't want to come back. And I've thought about this a lot, trying to pinpoint what exactly is it at the core that makes me not want to live here. And I think the best answer I could come up with after spending a lot of time in other places is how materialistic culture in the US is. How so much of life is about owning something, owning more than others. When materialism is at the core of a culture, like I think it is for the US, it leads to all kinds of other things, which makes it a place that makes me not want to live here. I think this drives a lot of problems. This is what causes people, or some people, to have so much, hundreds of billions of dollars, while there's 100 million people in the country struggling, like probably that lady was who attacked me with her dog in downtown the other day when I went there to the Goodwill. And you know, when you go around a city or any place with a large concentration of people in this country, you see people like that lady. You see their suffering right in front of you. I say Venice Beach is one of my favorite places. That's like one of the biggest areas, or it used to be at least 4 years ago, with like homeless encampments of people just living on the street, living in tents. It's crazy that you can have so much luxury, such beautiful nature, expensive bars, movies that cost $30, and then like right next to it, half a mile away, people who are like dying of hunger
and not having shelter. There's a lot of things I do love about the US, you know, that I didn't realize till I came back 6 months ago, the first time I came back to the US after like 4 years. I love how chatty people are, how easy it is to have a conversation. I love how lively the streets of the big cities, at least in America, are. I do miss that. But after having a chance to travel for so long, after having a chance to spend so much time in Europe, where the culture isn't as materialistic, where society and its rules is not as materialistic. If I have to stay somewhere and grow old, I'd rather do that in Europe. And just to be clear, America is not the worst place on earth. I'd still much rather live here than in Bangladesh and in a lot of other places that I've been to. I'm not gonna name them all, but like it is still not, it's not the best place for me anymore to spend the rest of my life. Man, the amount of sand that you have to walk through to get to the actual water in Los Angeles is ridiculous. It takes like 5 minutes. I don't think I've seen that anywhere else on a beach. And it is a gorgeous sunset in front of me right now. So with that, I'm gonna end the video. When it's a little bit darker, I'm gonna go into the promenade again, have a Chipotle there for old time's sake, and just walk around and then go home. So if you like this video, don't forget to like this video. If you want to watch more videos like this, feel free to subscribe to my channel. Usually there's more travel in my videos. And if you want to follow real-time travel updates, feel free to follow me on Instagram, and Nadir on the go. I'll catch you guys in the next video from somewhere else in America, I think.